Welcome, Dr. Lise, to the Energy Fix podcast. I am very excited to have you here for the conversation that we're about to have today.
Thank you for having me. It's fun. We'll be able to share some of our experience, you and I, and bring more life
Yes,
in the world, more understanding about health. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
yes. Well, before we really dive into the meat and potatoes, as they say, of this conversation, I love to allow my listeners to get to know you more on a deeper level and to see where you're at right now on your own journey. So, is there a word or a phrase that you feel that you're embodying right now in this season of your life?
Hmm. Yeah, I can use many right now. I feel like I'm taking a quantum jump in my self-actualization, actually. It's for Since 1989, I've been kind of like this mad scientist in my laboratory, working with my patients and my clients now as a coach, before as a chiropractor, and I've been owning my skills. In 1989, I wrote down a mission statement for my life. And the career statement said that I was going to help to optimize the life of millions of people through reconnecting them with their hearts. So I've been like owning my methods, my techniques, understanding, getting, expertise. And now since last winter, since like October, November, now I'm ready to take my work into the world and focusing on bringing, this information to more people. And you end up being part of my encounters. I'm very grateful for that. It's fun. This is where I'm at. It's like I reinvented myself. This is my third reinvention. First, I was a chiropractor, a holistic chiropractor. Then I became a coach, and now I'm going into the world with certifying people and doing all kinds of like. Now it's a big jump, and it's my last one. This is where I'm at. I'm
So,
going to the
so you
easy.
think.
I know. I think, okay, I thought that the last time. What's going to happen the next time?
Well, this quantum jumping that you're doing into this self-actualization, um, is there anything in particular you're doing for yourself? Some may call it self-care. I don't know, maybe it's just practices, but is there something that you're doing to help implement that deeper so that you're staying focused and you're staying committed to that quantum jump?
Well, I can talk to you for a long time. Um, the reason I've been able to hold my vision since 1989 is I took a seminar, and when I took the seminar, I was on a quest to understand how to live life to the fullest. And the year before, my dad had been diagnosed with terminal cancer and given 9 months to live. That was 3 weeks before my sister's wedding. A week after my sister's wedding, my 21-year-old brother died in a car accident. And within a month of all this, my 8-year relationship to the man I thought I was going to marry ended. And it was like, ow, ow, ow. So it was so painful. And I'm going to use if people are watching, I use a yin and yang. So it was so painful. So that to survive the pain, it sent me on a quest to understand what it takes to live a great life, because it's not if these things are going to happen to you, it's when they happen to you. How do you deal with them? Because you can see there's two types of older people: the people who are wise, who've learned from the events of their lives, and they just keep inspiring others. And then there are the people who face challenges in their life, and they just started to make their world smaller and smaller, and they become bitter and bitter. And I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be the one that will use everything that happens in life to grow. So on my quest, I ended up meeting Dr. John DeMartini. And if you get through an exercise called the DeMartini method, which is one of the exercises I do when people do my extreme freedom weekend. And the reason I teach this seminar is because of what this seminar did to me. And so when I did the exercise, even though my dad was dying and I was sad about it, I was also extremely angry with my dad. Because my dad had been a scary alcoholic, and oh, it was not easy. When I left home when I was 19 years old, my resting heart rate was 120. It was like I felt like I was in a war zone all the time. So through doing the exercise, I could feel all of a sudden my heart opening, and I could start to see the beauty of having had my dad in my life and how the perfection of having had him there. And my heart is opening so wide, and all of a sudden I see this man that reminded me of my dad. And I saw him break down in tears and say, "Why is it, mommy, you didn't love me?" And my heart just went kaboom, because all of a sudden I saw my dad not as my father, but as a man who had had his own journey, his own pain, his own cross to carry. And I ended up in this altered state that was like people who talk about near-death experience. Well, I felt in the same place. I was in this place of light, and I was shown without words that everything that ever happened to us, everything that is happening, everything that will ever happen to us is happening for us to grow in love and wisdom. And I felt like I was in heaven. And I was like, oh, and I stayed there maybe for like 30 seconds, and then I came back down. And it was like, wow, that was so amazing that I decided right there and then that I wanted to be able to give this kind of experience to as many people as I could. Because what it did for me, it totally transformed my life. I went from resentment to gratitude. And now I know that if you're in an extreme case of gratitude, you go to a state of grace. So I know that each and every one of us, we have the capacity to create heaven on earth. And we can have hell on earth if we want to, it's our choice. Or we can have heaven on earth. It's up to choose to do this. So that's why from this experience, I went on that quest to understand, like, what does it take? What does it take to keep people happy? Like, no matter what's happening around in life. And it's to be able to realize that everything that happens in our lives doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. So now you're asking me, how did you get, why are you getting able to do this quantum jump? Well, in part because of that vision. Like without that vision, I don't think I would have been able to hold on steadfast since 1989 for so long until now. And because Jack Canfield, the co-author of the Chicken Soup series, he sold 600 million books. He experienced my method, and he said that it was the missing link he had been looking for in 50 years of doing transformational work. So he asked me to write a book about my method. So I know the book should come out this year, so that I need to get ready. I need to get ready to make this jump. I cannot just be comfy in my office doing those things that are so nice and easy for me. I need to transcend and go into a bigger consciousness now to bring this work. So last October, I went and I spent 3 days with my coach learning about, how to speak about this work and online marketing and YouTube videos and all of these things that I had no clue about because I was this mad scientist in my lab. And so I'm learning, and I'm this Christmas holiday, and I have a fantastic time with my family. 3rd of January happens, and I'm ready to rock and roll. And I got sick. And did I ever get sick? Like, so sick. Like, I lost 9 pounds in a week. Like, I was in bed. I would wake up in the morning dreaming of falling back to sleep. I couldn't function, and that never happens to me. And for 3 weeks after, still not being myself, like I'm like the everyday bunny usually. Go, go, go. I'm full of energy. So I am in my country home and I'm in my hot tub. And I love being in my hot tub because it's a beautiful place to meditate and feel one with nature. And it's for me a good place. And I go, okay, Lise, it's not a coincidence. And once you're ready to rock and roll, all of a sudden this happens to you. Because there are three clues that you have a subconscious belief working against you. Number one, you know what needs to be done, but you're not doing it. The famous procrastination. So the good news is it's not because you lack willpower. It's not because you're lazy that you don't do what you're supposed to be doing. And people who come to see me or take one of my seminars, like, they've taken all these courses on how to organize your time and all these systems you can do, but they still don't do it. Why? Because it's not about the system. It's about if your subconscious mind has associated more pain than pleasure, more danger than safety to something you want, it won't let you do it. Because relatively speaking, your mind that wants something is the size of a football, and your subconscious mind, the football field. So imagine the difference. So if you keep going, even though subconsciously you believe you're going to die or you're going to be in extreme pain or there's going to be a huge price to pay, it sucks the energy out of you. It makes it so much harder. So clue number one is procrastination. Clue number two, you do everything right, but it's using more energy than you need. And clue number three, you keep doing everything right, but you have the opposite results to what you want. So I did my heart freedom method, which is the method that I'm writing the book with Jack, which allows me to find a moment in life where you create the belief that's now ruling your life. Because you won't create what you want in life, you're going to create what you believe. You won't create what you want in life, you're going to create what you believe. And the thing is, we don't know what we believe. Most of the time, we don't know. Scientists believe that 90 to 95% of what we do is actually pre-programmed in us. And we think we're running the show when in fact, we're just reacting to all this programming we have. So I'm going, okay, Lise, that's not a coincidence. You got so sick as you're ready to go. And I ended up back in the moment when I was 5 years old. I remember I was trying to be such a good girl for my mom and such a good big sister because I was trying to make my mom happy because, life was not easy in our household with my dad and all these things. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't make my mom happy. So I created a belief that yes, I could have some things, but I could not have the thing I really want, which is to be seen by my mom as a good girl, a good big sister. She would appreciate me, and that through appreciating me, I could make her happy. Well, if you know about Pavlov's dog, here I am, wanting to bring this work into the world. And I need to be seen. I'm a good girl. You can trust me. I'm gonna make you happy. So the difference I had to see was that when I was a little girl, it's not my job to make my mom happy. Which 5 years old can make mom happy? It's mom who needs to do that. But me as an adult, I have tools and techniques, and people who seek to change their life, to find happiness, success, love, health, they can find me if I learn to talk about what I do in the right way. And I can't tell you the relief. I feel so good right now. You're asking me what's the energy that's getting me to jump in the next quantum? Because up until now, I've been so focused, so determined, but that thing had been going inside of me, working against me. But now I took it out and it's like, ah. So it's now like my soul, my mind, my heart, my emotion, everything can be in line. And now I feel energized. I feel all the chakras are aligning. I feel grateful. I know that I know what needs to be done now. So I feel inspired. I feel grateful. I just want to do the work and have fun doing it. And before I felt like I got to do this, but now I feel like I love to do this. There's a difference in my energy. So that's my short answer to your short question.
Well, that energy that you are coming from makes a huge difference. And I'll tell you, and I say this even from a personal place, that good girl syndrome and the being seen, the fear of being seen is so huge when it comes to inner resistance. I see it all the time. I've struggled with it myself. It's a common theme, I think, for many.
The thing though, I've been doing this work since 1989 and I had no idea it was there. I had to get so sick again. Whenever something happens, whenever we have a challenge, we really have to learn to use it to our advantage. Because if I had not had this, like, I felt like I was facing death. If I had not had this, I would not have been able to dig so deep and go and unearth this thing I had like hidden very well from my consciousness. And it's like what you're saying, it's so common, but most of the time we're not aware of it. That's the thing with the subconscious mind. That's why I really love the heart freedom method, because it's a tool that you can use whenever you see those three clues. You go, oh, look what's going on. It's at 1, 2, or 3. And like sometimes it's a combination of all three, but it's like, okay, I need to do my work because something is not jiving right now. One of these things doesn't belong here. I need to figure it out.
Well, you have let's talk more about some of that resistance and some of those places. You have such a diverse journey from being a championship rower to pioneering this women's ice canoeing. How have how have these, which is impressive by the way, how have these outdoor challenges really influenced your perspective on personal growth and also overcoming inner resistance?
That's a good question. Like, rowing taught me so many things. Like, when you row and you do a 2,000-meter race, it is so painful. It is so very painful. The first 500 meters are not so bad. At 1,000, you're starting to really hurt. So from the second 2,000 meters is all about managing the pain. And the last 250 meters, you bargaining with God. Please let me hold on to my oar. Don't let me crab. Crabbing is when your oar gets stuck under the water and then the whole boat stops because you did that. Like, you don't want that shame. And then, and the cocks in the last 250, usually you do 3 sets of hard 10 and you increase the speed. So you think you're dying. And then the cocks asks you to pick up the beat twice for 10. And then it asks you to do that another time for 10 and another time for 10s in the last. And every time you think there's no way, but somehow you find it. And it's such a good tool to have in life when sometimes I thought I couldn't keep going anyway because of my training as a rower. I got that. The other thing I got is it was from one race, and it taught me so much. That's a long story, but I think it's a good story that can inspire the listeners. So I was in a really good team. We wanted to win Henley. And if you're a rower, the Canadian Royal Henley Regatta is the race to win in North America. So we have boats from the States, Canada, a few from Europe, and they all come here. And the only thing you win at this regatta is a gold medal. Everybody else is a loser. So it's all guts, no glory. It's all glory, no guts. It's all guts and glory if you don't get it. So the year before we were winning all races, everything, but still the Henley medal eluded us. So our coach got us a special stealth boat. It was supposed to make us really good. And it was 3 feet shorter. It was a different design. It was supposed to be the summum of boats. But that year, we were rowing so poorly. Like the boat was sinking, and the coach was starting to be upset with us, thinking we were lazy. And it was like, whoa. So we end up at the race. We've been training the whole year in the winter and the spring, like at the gym, like Friday nights, people are out partying. I'm in the gym doing weights, doing an erg, like doing all these things. So here we go. We're in the boat. And we managed to make it to the finals. And we're sitting there, and I'm so nervous. When you start, like people, it's so funny when they watch a rowing race, they think they're just like, row, row, row. No, you never say that. You would drive the rowers crazy. So you're sitting at the starting gate, and everybody's looking at the referee at the top, and there's 6 or 7 lanes depending on the currents. You should not have currents, but some of the lanes are faster or better than the others. So we're sitting there, and the referee at the top says, "Leg 1, you got a course." And the coxswain nods. Everything is done in silence. And you've trained a whole year. Like the week before your race, you don't sleep. You're sitting there, and you have to pee so bad. So you're sitting there at the starting gate, and you're waiting, and he goes, lane 1, you got a course. Then lane 2, you got a course, and everybody's quiet, like you could hear like not a noise except the referee. And he goes like this, like 3, and then it says 2, you got, the coxswain says 2, spike your blades, bring the boat so that's straight, like you can't stand it. And all of a sudden the referee says, "Sitting up in all boats. Are you ready?" And then you're going, ah, row, and then boom. So now it's like you're like bats out of hell. You're going like 42 strokes per minute. It's like for the first 250 strokes, like to 250, you're going so fast. And then after 200, not 50 stroke, 250 meters, the coxswain says, "Okay, time to settle." So usually a race is raced around 32, maybe 33, like if you're forcing 34. So we settle, and then we're at 500 meters. And at 500 meters, our coxswain says they're pulling away from us. It was like, oh no. We're at 500 meters, and we're the second boat because we were good. So everybody is in the back, but there's a boat pulling away from us. And at 1,000 meters, the boat in front of us has open water, which means their bow has pulled away from our stern, so now you can see open water. When that happens at 1,000, it's the end of you. You're not gonna make it. So at 1,200 meters, we're already going like at 34. The coxswain says, "Vixens." That was funny. "Vixens. It's now or never. Pick it up, 2 beats, now." And we're all going, this is crazy. He wants us to row at 36? That's gonna hurt like hell. We can't do this. But he's asking, okay, we're gonna do it. So we all got like 8 people at once connected to his voice, and we listened. And then magic happened. Because we were rowing at 36, the boat that was differently designed lifted out of the water. So now every stroke we're taking, instead of sinking, we're gliding up out of the water. It was the most amazing experience of my life. like at 1,500 meters, like we are right side by side. And I remember, because when you're a rower, you can't look outside the boat. Like your job is you stay focused, you listen to the coxswain, you don't look outside your boat, but you kind of feel the boat and you can hear the coxswain. So all of a sudden we're starting to row through their boats, and that never happens. Like we are catching up to them. And like we're halfway through their boat, and all of a sudden we hear the coxswain says, "We're gaining on them." So our coxswain says, "He's lying. You know what that means. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Give me 5 seats." And then like this is how they get you excited, and then they get you through all the seats all at once. So I'm at 1750, which usually you're in agony, I just told you. But actually, at that point, it's such a supernatural experience. I have no pain. And I feel like there's a golden globe around the whole boat. And it's amazing. It's a spiritual experience for me. And we're fighting back and forth, and then we're so close, like we're neck to neck, literally neck to neck. It went from having open water on us to now like the crowd is going crazy because this never happens. So we go to the catch, they go to the finish. That's the only difference. The race ends, and they have to take a photo finish because we're so close, and we lost by this much. It's called a bow ball. Like at the end of a bow in rowing, you put a ball so that you can't skew anybody. And it was like, wow. And there were some girls who were crying. I didn't cry because I had nothing left in my tank. If I had left like 1% of my energy, I would have cried. But that's something that I learned that was so valuable. And I did not need a medal around my neck because they got the medal, we got nothing. But I felt what we had done was the most amazing feat of rowing, what we discover. And I did not need a medal to tell me how great we had been, because I owned it in my heart. What we had done was crazy. And second is that if you give everything you have, even if you don't get the results you want, you're a winner, because we did not know that this boat didn't needed to be rowed at a certain speed so it would lift out of the water. And only through sheer guts and courage did we discover it. So that when you live life to the fullest, when you jump in the experiences of your life, if you go with gusto, you're going to shorten the time to learn what needs to be learned so you can jump into the next thing that can be done. Then that's how you live life to the fullest. Because I believe that each and every one of us, our mission in life is to bring the best out of ourselves, to squeeze everything we can out of life. Like I have another analogy. It's like, let's say you decide to go to Rome in Italy. And what would happen if you went to Rome, stayed in your hotel room, ordered food in, and watched TV the whole time, then went back home? Versus you go to Rome, if it was me, I go to Rome, I sit in a little cafe, look at people, go shopping for them some nice shoes, go to the museum, maybe the opera, have some great Italian food, go drive around the countryside so that when I come back home, look, I soaked it out. Well, we are spiritual beings. That's our home. And then we come on a trip on planet Earth. And our job is to squeeze as much as we can to grow in love and wisdom through experiences. So you don't have to travel around the world, but if you do things like if you jump into your romantic life with your whole heart open, if you love your family with your whole heart, if you jump in your career, if you jump into making yourself healthy, like if you jump in full on, that's how you're going to grow and learn and have experience going to be so rich for you. And that's why it's important to have a why. You need to have a why for living your life. And that's why in my Extreme Freedom Weekend seminar, we spend the whole Sunday crafting a statement of purpose just for you. So you have a big enough why. Because I climb Kilimanjaro, I keep talking and talking. You can't stop me if you want me. But I have a story about climbing Kilimanjaro. And if you climb Kilimanjaro, it's not that hard, except the altitude and the last day. Because the last day, the wall is like straight up. And because I'm a rower, I know how much I have in the tank. We start at 3 in the morning. By 11, we get there. So I know I have in the tank, but I thought that was the summit. I had geared myself for the summit. I get to that place, I think it's the summit. It's called Gilsman's Point. And you still have an hour and a half to walk. It's not steep anymore. It's like, a little incline for an hour and a half, which means an hour and a half back. So that's 3 hours. So I'm standing there going, I don't have enough in the tank. I organized myself to get to the summit. That's not the summit. So I'm standing there and the altitude is really getting to me and I'm feeling all foggy and knowing what I know, I'm thinking, oh, maybe I got cerebral edema starting. So I asked my guide, I said, why should I do this? I feel really bad. And he makes a joke. He says, just think about how good you're going to feel when you have your shower 2 days from now. And I'm going, yeah, I know the victory shower, but 2 days from now, that's not enough. That's gonna hurt. So I'm standing there in my foggy brain and going, why should I do this? And I thought, oh, so I can tell stories to my people that will inspire them. So everybody now, if you want to live a great life, you need to know your what and your why. And then jump in because you don't have any idea how it's going to happen. So you need to take the most appropriate next step. And if you trust that you're worthy of love, then the solutions are going to be shown to you. It's like me in 1989 when I decided I was going to impact the lives of millions of people. I had no idea how. I just knew the what and the why. And the what was because I wanted to help connect people with that experience I had in that transformative moment where I experienced, heaven on earth. And I wanted to give that. That was my what and my why. And every day afterwards, I looked for ways that I could make it happen. And this is the true law of attraction. If you challenge yourself to follow your heart, you're going to attract support. If you stay in your comfort zone, you're going to attract challenges. I actually got to teach the law of attraction to the people from the movie The Secret because basically, I was there when Rhonda Burns came and pitched the idea for the movie The Secret. If I had put my name on the list, I could have been in the movie. So I got a real kick out of teaching them that. So as you move forward, you need to know what's in my heart. I'm willing to do this. Like, what's my why? Why am I going to do this? For people, sometimes it's for their children. Sometimes it's a cause. Sometimes it's their city. Sometimes it's their country. Sometimes it's for, like you just need to figure out what's my what and honor your what. It's different from everybody else. If you are a really great carpenter and you can make beautiful furniture and you do it from your heart, you bring love into people's beauty, environment, and inspire. Like, you just need to spend the time to discover what your heart is calling you. And as you move forward with your purpose in life, and I like to equate it like climbing a mountain. If you know where you're going, you need to learn to use all the support and all the challenges of life to make you get where you want to go. And as you move forward, that's when you're going to feel the subconscious stuff creating resistance. So to live an amazing life, you need both your conscious mind that knows what you want to create, and then you need a tool to deal with the subconscious belief that will invariably, everybody's got them. It's not possible. So people, oh no, no. I can guarantee you, I don't know of anybody who does not have subconscious belief working against them. So it becomes a game. It's not if you can have a great life, is am I committed enough to give myself a great life? It's not luck. It's not crossing your fingers, wishing you're going to win the lottery that's going to make it happen. I can guarantee you, listen to your heart, know your what and your why, take actions every day, feel when you have inner resistance, get rid of it, and keep moving. And lo and behold, it's going to get you somewhere you could have never imagined being able to go.
Wow. Those are incredible stories. I think what stood out to me the most was that if we take inspirational, short spurts of action, instead of looking at something like it's this big, long journey, it's so much more easy to keep resilience, to continue to push and give it your all rather than feeling that daunting emotion, that daunting feeling of the long journey ahead.
Yeah, it's like if I ask you to write a book, you might say, a book? I say, okay, can you write a chapter a month? Can you write a page every 2 days, every 3 days? Oh, so like you say, chunking it down in small pieces is what's going to make it happen. And when you have a big enough why, like people say, Lise, like, how did you have the discipline and the focus? It's because I have a why. When you have a why, it doesn't feel like discipline. It just feel like I have no choice. This is like breathing air. Like just find your why. Like a parent that has kids, like they get up in the middle of the night and they keep doing it. Why? Because they love their child, they love their babies. You don't even think as like, oh, I gotta have discipline. I gotta think about this. Should I get up tonight? No, you just do it because you love your child.
Yeah. Well, that leads me to a thought though, that, so often we find ourselves doing these things that just aren't beneficial. And we know that they may not be in our best interest. And maybe sometimes that's because our why and our what is not strong enough. That might be a whole other topic. But when we know something is not in our best interest, why do we continue to engage in the behaviors? What's your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
So for me, I have two, I believe it's two reasons. One, it can be because there's some pain that you're trying to numb. And the other one is because you have a conditioned response to that. I'll tell you a story. I have many stories. So when I was a chiropractor, I had this patient and she wanted to change her lifestyle. She wanted to go on a wellness program, and she did extremely well. She changed her diet, she exercised, she saw me, we were doing a whole program with her. And all of a sudden, she started craving potato chips. So I did, the work that I do with her, and we found the reason. The reason why was because when she was a little kid, when her and her two brothers were being good kids during the day, before they went to bed at night, mom would get them in the kitchen, they would put their hands out and they would get potato chips. So now they had associated being good with getting potato chips. She had been good with changing her lifestyle. She needed a reward, which was potato chips. So, like, who would have thought of that? That's why I love doing this work, because you could do 10,000 hours of therapy and you would never figure out, like, the reason why is because of that. The other reason why we do things that we think are, bad for us is because it's the way that we found that's numbing us, that numbs our pain. And I had another patient, it was a cool story. She knew the power of associating food with reward. And for her, she had decided that celery stick was going to be the reward. So she even wrapped up celery sticks and aluminum foil and put it under the Christmas tree so that her son will look at it as a treat.
Oh,
So
wow.
so when she told me that, her son was 30 years old, and to this day, if he was depressed, he would go in the fridge and pick a celery stick. So if you're a little kid and you get rewarded with ice cream and cookies, and now you're on, you remember, you realize that sugar is not that good for me, and you're trying to be healthy, lose weight, but you keep eating the cookies or eating the ice cream, and like you're sitting at home feeling depressed because you're alone, and you take the whole tub of ice cream and you're eating the whole ice cream, and you know it's not good for you. It's because you're trying to numb that pain through the thing that you have associated with, a treat to take away the edge, the pain, which does not work. And that's why it's so important to learn to do this mind body work, I believe.
Mm. What do you think is at the root of the avoidance patterns that people may get into, when they're trying to shift, like they know something is good for them and they start to make these changes, but then I see this all the time. There are these avoidance patterns that start to come in or start to show their snarling teeth, right? Like, what do you think this is coming from, and how can people break free from that?
Yeah, again, there's so many different possibilities, but when I work with people, a lot of people deep down are afraid of having a relationship, are afraid of having success in their career. Like another story I can tell you. An Olympic level skier came to see me because she had not placed in 2 years. She's a Canadian Olympic skier. Imagine that. No money. You Canadian athlete. Government of Canada really needs to take better care of our athletes. So you have no money, you have no social life, you train all day. So obviously, consciously, you want to win. But I tested her on, I'm already willing and able to win. And lo and behold, deep down, she didn't want to win. And it went back to when she was a little kid. She was already winning. She was 7 years old, but her brothers were not as successful. So, not to make her brothers feel bad, mom would hide her medals and her trophies. So now she had associated winning with making other people feel poorly. What happens when your teammates kind of feel like siblings? The Pavlovian bell rings, the conditioned response kicks in. You don't want to upset other people. So she was avoiding doing the things that would make her win. So anyway, I did 2 sessions with her. She had other stories, naturally, not that only that one, but that one was so shocking. And then she went back on the podium and she won. So I know from working with enough people that often people are afraid of success. Like I was in Chicago, I was giving a keynote talk to 350 coaches from all over North America and some from Europe. And coaches are all supposed to be about, success. And I talked about this concept I just shared with you. So I offered them, if you want, I can test you to see if you're congruent with being successful. And I had at least 100 coaches lined up. And out of the 100, only one coach was congruent with being successful. All the other ones had associated winning, being successful with being abandoned, people being jealous of them, leaving people behind. Like the fear, like at the basic biological level, we fear being isolated. We need society. We need our tribe. We need the group of people. And so people will avoid doing the right things for themselves, not because they're stupid, just because, again, when your subconscious mind has associated more danger than safety, it won't let you do it. It will sabotage you. You'll avoid the things. Like I just came back last week. I was in a mastermind with like really super successful people in Korea. And even this guy who organized this, like he wants to start coaching with me. So I said, great, I'll start doing my work with you. And the whole 5 days we were there, it was like slippery. Jack, it was like all over the place. So this the last 10 minutes, we're at the airport, we're about to take our flights, and I test him on, I'm ready, willing, and able to receive help. And he was not okay receiving help. Why? Because when he was a little kid, when he asked help from his parents, they would call him stupid and make fun of him. So whenever you see something that's not the appropriate logical thing to do, you see yourself taking an action that takes you away from what your heart wants for you, it's not because you're stupid. It's not because you lack willpower. It's not because you're inadequate. It's because subconsciously you have attached more danger than safety, more pain than pleasure to that thing you want. So that's why I'm on fire about bringing this work into the world, because I believe we could make huge difference, because when we help people live from their heart, they're happy. And who's going to bring wars in the world? The happy person or the unhappy person? Like, the more people learn to live from their heart, experience happiness, love, wisdom, the more all the woes in the world are going to go away. Like, we don't need to tell somebody you're doing it wrong. If we, each and every one of us, starts living from our heart, I believe in the collective unconscious, we actually manage to shift. We have a world impact each time we take the responsibility to have peace in our heart. Because how can we be hypocrites expecting countries that have been warring for centuries back and forth if we can't even have peace within our own heart with our own self? Like, if we don't even love our own self, and most people don't, and if we hold grudges in our family, like how can we have the dystopia of having, peace on earth if we're not willing to do our own work and strive? Basically, our job is to bring the best out of ourselves, because if you bring the best out of yourself at that moment, you are loving who you are. You're bringing in your essence in the world. And just like a flower can bring its essence in the world, when your essence is in the world, I benefit from it. You love yourself, I benefit, the world benefits. And so it's our job for each and every one of us to reconnect with our hearts and bring that beauty into the world.
Mm. Dr. Lise, this is yes to all of that. That feels like so much truth in my body. I love that. And I feel like this is a really appropriate time now to kind of dive a little bit further into your technique, because it's really all about dismantling the subconscious barrier to success, really. So, can you talk and share a little bit about your groundbreaking heart freedom method and how it plays a role in doing this?
Well, if you want, I can actually guide the listener through the method.
Y Would love that. Yes, please.
All right. So, those of you listening, if you're not driving, I want you to think about, check all the different areas of your life, your career, your finances, your health, your weight management, your love life. Like, look in the different areas of your life and see where you either procrastinate, you know what needs to be done, but you're not doing it, or you're doing it, but you feel it. It's using more energy than you need, or you keep doing everything right and you get the opposite result. So scan your life and pick one area right now. Okay. So feel what it feels like when you feel that inner resistance. Become present with the inner resistance. Scan your body and feel where in your body you feel the resistance. Where's the location? Now, what's the shape? What's the color? Dark, light? What's the temperature? Hot, cold body temperature? What's the texture? So become present with the sensation, its location, shape, color, temperature, and texture. Be one with it. What's the emotion in it? Is it fear, dread, feeling vulnerable, insecure, sadness, feeling abandoned? Feel the emotion that's in it. Be one with it. What we resist persists. So allow yourself to feel the emotion. And feel it. Is that an all known emotion? Have you felt this before? I don't want you to think the answer. I want you to feel the answer. How old were you the first time you felt this way? Are you in the womb, at birth, 2 years old, 7, 10, 15, 20? How old are you the first time you felt this way? Where are you? Are you inside or outside? Are you alone or someone is around you? What's going on? Go explore this scene. Okay. So if you were very small, I want you to put the young version of you on your lap. If you were older, sit knees to knees, hold hands, and look in your heart and just allow the older version of you to become present with the emotion of the younger version of you. Just become present, no judgment, just present. And now we're going to take it to the next level. Since you are worthy of love, what's the truth of the situation? What's really going on? If your own child was going through this or your best friend was going through this, like what would you tell them? What's really actually going on? Because nothing is wrong with you. It's not because something is wrong with you, it's happening. There's a reason why this is happening. Now let's take it to the next level. What was the benefit to you that you had this challenge? How did it drive you? Maybe today you're very athletic, or you're very studious, or you're very loving, or you're into health, or you're very compassionate. Like, how did it drive you? How did it get you to move in a way you would have not moved otherwise? Another way of looking at it, what would have been the drawbacks if this thing had not happened to you? So take a moment to see that. See the divine design of this happening for you. And now I want you to imagine yourself 20 years from now, and this thing that you felt blocked or stuck doing, you've managed to do this very well. It's easy for you now. You look back at you, you feel successful, loved, loving, you feel proud of yourself. What does the 20-year older version of you tell you right now? What does the older version of you tell you about this situation where you feel blocked? It's very similar usually to what you told a much younger version before. See how you needed it to be that way up until now, but now you don't need it to be this way anymore. You can go for what your heart wants because you're worthy of love. You deserve every good things. And take a deep breath in through your nose, through your heart. Feel how blessed you are to be you, to be learning and growing and evolving, and you being guided. Even when we don't know it, we are always being guided to unfold our highest potential, to grow in love and wisdom. Taking a deep breath in through your nose, through your heart. And now go back and check the location, the shape, the color, the temperature, and the texture, what's happened to it. And if it's all gone, you know you've done. And if it's not fully done, then you can just do the method on what's left. So how did it go for you?
Mm. Thank you. First off, thank you for sharing that. That was a beautiful way to connect in and to really see. I will share just a little bit because I went through this activity as you started to voice it. And it's so interesting because there's certain areas of my business that I am pushing and trying to open up and to work through, but that just feel blocked and stuck. And I'm not quite sure why those areas in particular, because I see that they are my next step or my next level. And what was so interesting was when you talked about where is it in your body? What does it look like? Giving it all of the descriptors. I saw right between my heart and my throat a triangle that was hard, cold, black, and metallic. And behind it was little Tansy at about 8 years old. And she was scared. She didn't want to be seen. She had her head turned away. And I knew right then and there that part of my block is really because it's that fear of being seen,
There you go.
that fear of being seen, and it makes complete sense which with the pieces that feel like they have, like the new pieces that feel like they have a little bit of a stuckness to them. So that was really enlightening. And then at the end, as I checked back in, I could see a big beautiful yellow sun right there where that triangle was. So that was an awesome activity. Thank you.
You are very welcome. And yeah, so that's the heart freedom method.
Now, is this the same concepts that you talk about or that you bring into the book that you are birthing out this year?
Yeah, so the book is about exactly about this method. So everybody around the world will be able to learn how to do it. And that's my dream. My dream is to have each family in the world can have at least one person who can do this, that can help each other to bring more love into the world. And for people who want to go deeper, I created an online program where I teach you how to do this for each area of life. So you can learn it for career, for finances, for health, for weight, for love. So many people are afraid of love. I have a podcast called Soul Worthy Love because I'm on the quest also to help people realize that love is safe, and if it's not safe, it's not love. So people can learn how to do this. They get one lesson a week, and you get two group coaching calls a month that you can come on and practice it and ask me questions. It's interactive. So that's the individual. People can learn how to do this. And then I have a certification program because I want to train coaches in this method. I already have 18 coaches right now. I've been trained in my method and they speak different language. I have English, Spanish, French, Portuguese. I have one psychiatrist, actually. She speaks Russian and she's starting to learn how to do this. So that's my goal, is to be able to train coaches into the method so that I can have more impact in the world. So I still do one-on-one coaching myself, but I'm sending clients to my coaches. So I have a big gamut of work that people can benefit from. And yeah, I'm inspired. That's why I'm inspired. That's why I got so sick, because I had to be ready to unleash this in the world.
Yeah. Well, I want to highlight your book. Your book is called Unstuck, and this is the one that's co-authored with Jack Canfield. Now, the Heart Freedom Method is going to be in that, but can you give us any more little sneak peeks into what the reader can expect and maybe some inspiration between this collaboration with you and Jack?
Yes. Well, basically, it's all there. And the reason Jack ended up asking me to write the book is because I presented my method on stage. I was in Bermuda and I presented my method. And Jack has been using it with large group, like 800 people when he does it. And he saw the transformation. People love doing the method. And that's why I said, please, we need to write a book about your method. So here I am. And I have another book right now that's actually written already, and it's called Conversation with the Heart. So if people want to find out more about the foundation to live a great life, you can just go on my website or just go conversationwiththeheart.com and you can order it there, or we can have a hard copy or audio, you can have a digital copy, and it will give you the basic philosophy of what it takes to live a great life consciously. And then that's why I'm bringing the heart freedom method, because that's the subconscious part that most people don't know how to deal with. That's actually running the show. Like, just like you saw the little girl didn't want to be seen. And it's like, and those things you can, and that's why I love working with driven people. Like, I love working with top level athletes. I love working with, people who have a mission in life, because they know that when the going gets tough, it's really about them. Being able to let go of these inner resistance that can make such a huge difference in their business and their love life and their health and everything. It's we don't have to be scared. You don't have to be born under a lucky star. It's not rocket science. Like, it's basic common sense. Like, that's why I like using the yin and the yang all the time. This is a visual for a great life. The dark side is the yin principle of listening to your heart. Your heart wants you to know two things. The first thing your heart wants you to know is you're worthy of love. I believe actually that the essence of everyone is love. Love is not an emotion. It's actually our essence. So the good news is we all have access to that. So your heart wants you to know you're worthy of love and do the work to let go of the story to the opposite. The second thing your heart wants you to do is admit your dreams and aspiration. That's why everybody needs to have a purpose for their life. How am I going to use my life? And then after that, the yang is about getting in action to give your heart what it wants. If you start doing this, you're going to create heaven on earth. Most people live hell on earth. Why? Because they keep running away from pain towards pleasure. People have the illusion that something is wrong with them. And that's another thing I discover from working with my clients one-on-one, is that I see there are like two stages to human development. There's the unconscious, the sleep infantile stage. Everybody makes it through that one. And then there's the conscious, awakened, mature stage. If you're lucky, you get usually kicked into that, usually through a tragedy, like my tragedy I shared with you in the beginning. It's like, okay, the way I'm living is not working. So you either lose your career, you lose your health, your partner, your money, something happens that, or you just go, you know what? This is not working. I need to find a different way. Or if you're lucky, you get inspired. You listen to a podcast like this one right now and you go, yeah, I want that. So now you start creating a new life. So instead of being, because in stage one, what happens, that's why every single one of us have subconscious belief, because right from the time you were born, love has to come from the outside. And if it doesn't come, you're going to die. So that's scary. So if what you're doing, you get the results you want and go, I'm king or queen of the world, I'm amazing, I can have everything I want, I'm worthy of love. But one day you're crying and nobody comes, what's wrong with me? I won't be able to get what I want. And then moms has this audacity to have another baby. What's wrong with me? I'm not enough. Look at her. She's nursing the baby and now she's cranky with me when I want her attention. And then you go to school, and then one day your best friend is your best friend, but the next day someone has a better toy than yours, and now, oh, what's wrong with me? Now you associate having toys with being loved. So now you want things, you want toys. And then you're 15, 16 years old and you have your first crush. Finally, someone sees how amazing I am. and then it doesn't work because 99% of the time it doesn't work. Now you get crushed. What's wrong with me? So we keep creating these stories that have nothing to do with the reality. Because is a baby worthy of love? Is a toddler in the throat that, terrible twos worthy of love? Is a teenager worthy of love? At 20, 30, at what point did you stop being worthy of love? You stopped being worthy of love when you decided that you were unworthy. You created a story because it's not true. You are worthy of love. So that's why I find like living life is an amazing adventure. And once you understand the basic principles, you can get out of stage one, which I call hell on earth, because you're constantly trying to find your your worth in the way people react to you. And people are busy with their own drama. So you're at the mercy of the winds. It's stressful. You'll never be successful in stage one. But stage one is your boot camp. And I have another analogy. There are three kinds of boot camps. Like it's an analogy I created. So some people were born into a musical boot camp. Life is easy, they're family, there's not many dramas, it's peaceful. The problem is when they graduate from that boot camp, they're not equipped for real life. And some people were born into an athletic boot camp. That's a good one to have. You get supported and challenged. You still get the occasions to, create stories that you're unworthy of love, but you're supported and challenged. So you learn to rely on your heart and your own courage. And then there are the people who are most lucky if they're old souls, they're born into a Navy SEAL boot camp. And if they survive Hell Week, they graduate as a superhero.
That's the one I'm in.
So that's the one you're in. So people, like I love working with people who are Navy SEAL graduates because they're so strong, so capable. The only thing we need to do is let go of the illusion that something was wrong with you to having had these huge challenges. Nothing was wrong. It's a boot camp. Like whether it's a musical boot camp, an athletic boot camp, or a Navy SEAL, it's not because something is wrong with you that you were in that boot camp. It has nothing to do with your worth, but it has to do with how strong as a soul you decided to incarnate in that specific boot camp because you have big ambitions. So you need to make sure that you admit, what is it my heart wants for me? And now you start using everything you got from your boot camp and start using it consciously from inspiration in stage two, creating heaven on earth for yourself. So the fuel in stage one is you run away from pain towards pleasure. So it's fear. In stage two, you come from your heart. So now you're using inspiration. Stage one, fear. Stage two, inspiration. So it's a different game, called that the ultimate game of life, creating heaven on earth. It's a different way. And when you're in stage two working, I do, oh, look at me, I'm in stage one right now, trying to get my sense of self from the way that people are reacting around me. And then, okay, I'm going to bring myself back into stage two. But the more you play in stage two, the less time you spend in stage one. And it's a lot more fulfilling, which is, if we go back, this is what I experienced when I experienced that amazing state of grace. So you can create that state of grace every day that you follow your heart from gratitude, your life becomes more and more fulfilling.
I think that the last little piece here that I want to touch on that I feel like this goes so well with that, and you and I talked a little bit of this off air prior to recording today, is that everything that you just talked about, I feel is amplifying right now. And there's more and more people who are opening up to this and who are they're seeing past the veil of what they've always known. And they're starting to understand that things can change, even if they don't know how. So, Dr. Lise, could you talk just a little bit about that and why you think that's happening right now?
Yes, again, that's why I always trust that good things are going to come, because it's impossible to have a unipolar life. There will always be equal and opposite. And for the last 4 years, especially, we have endured huge challenges, like health-wise and fear-wise, and the wars in the world and all this. And right now, what's happening is that it's making people question, like, what is health? Does it come from a pill? Does it come from an injection? Or does it come from within me? And for me, with my background as a holistic chiropractor, I look at health as the health triangle. Part of it is structural, so exercising your body, getting physical therapy, chiropractic, massage, exercising, all these good things. The other one is biochemical, everything you eat and drink, even stuff you put on your skin, like EMF, and all these things that can impact us. And then the last one is emotions. I would say, from my experience, 60% of all this is connected to emotions. Because every emotion you have can either increase your health or decrease your health. So living a fulfilling life is important. Everybody who's listening to this right now, you need to commit to living an amazing life. And the only way you're going to live an amazing life, it's not by Santa Claus bringing it to you, not by your mate bringing it to you. The only way you're going to live an amazing life is if you decide, I'm going to listen to my heart. I'm going to do my work to know I'm worthy of love. I'm going to admit my dreams and aspiration. And now I'm going to organize my time to give this to me. And by doing this, I'm going to inspire the people around me. It's not a selfish thing to do. It's actually the only thing that each and everyone can do. So, but it starts with a commitment. Like, if you challenge yourself, nobody has more pain than pleasure. If you challenge yourself, you'll experience happiness. If you stay at home in your comfort zone, suck your thumb, and don't try to challenge yourself, you'll be miserable. Like, basically, that's all people can do as human beings. The source of human suffering is the search for pleasure without challenges. Source of human suffering is the search for pleasure without challenges. As you move to fulfill your heart, you will experience both support and challenges. The challenges happen to you not because something is wrong with you, but because there's only two reasons why you get a challenge. Number one, it's something you need to master, because obviously if you mastered it, it wouldn't be a problem. It's mastered. The other reason why you face a challenge is because it's sending you in a direction that you need to go, that you are either aware you need to go or unaware you need to go. So for me, I told you about my story when, my father was diagnosed with cancer and all this. It sent me on a quest. I had no idea. I just trusted. I just went with it, and I learned and I grew, and it was amazing. But sometimes you face a challenge because, you should quit that job. It's not in your heart anymore. And you're kicking and screaming because it's so comfy. It happened to me when I was a chiropractor, because I loved being a chiropractor. I was really good at it. I was successful. I worked 25 hours a week. I took 12 weeks off a year. My patient loved me. Like, it was the cat's meow. But, at one point in 2003, I'd be standing behind my patients and I'd be crying. They didn't know about that. I took my girlfriend out for her birthday, and right in the middle of her birthday dinner, I started crying. I said, okay, Lise, you need to take a break. So I took 3 months off to reflect, and I realized the reason I was crying is because I needed to shift from being a chiropractor to doing what I'm doing right now. But that was scary. I had it all. I had to reinvent myself. So when you face a challenge, instead of going into a puddle, take a breath in and go, since I'm worthy of love, how am I going to use this to my advantage? Is it something I need to master? Or is this sending me in the direction I need to go that I know I'm resisting, or I'm not aware and I need to trust? And that one is more challenging, because you need to trust that you're worthy of love. You need to trust that it's happening for you, and that the only thing you can do is go with it and learn from it and see where it's going to guide you, and you'll be amazed at where it's going to guide you. But everything that's happening is for your highest good.
This has been an deeply inspirational, informative, and heart-connecting conversation. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Where can people find you, and how can they get into your circle?
Um, I have my website, drlisejanelle.com, and if you go there, you will see all my courses, my certification course, my Extreme Freedom Weekend course, which is a really great way of consciously creating your life. I have my online programs, one for learning how to do the Heart Freedom Method, which is called Unleash Your Dream Life, but I think I'm going to call it Unleash Your Dream Life, Get Unstuck with Dr. Lise. I'm going to use both because I think it's going to go well with the book. And the other one is called Soul Worthy Love, where I teach people how to find true love, because a lot of the reason we don't have the love we want in our life is, again, because of subconscious belief. And then I have the certification program. I have all kinds of goodies. If you go to my other website, it's called heartfreedommethod.com. In the middle of the website, you will see, if you click there, there's a bunch of goodies you can get for free that will guide you. Like I have services for all different prices, all different commitment, how driven you are to live your life. You can start with my book, Conversations with the Heart. Soon with Get Unstuck, you can go to the online program, the one-on-one coaching with me, or with my coaches, the certification program, the Extreme Freedom Weekend. There's a wide palette of what you can choose from, but there's something for everybody. If you feel you resonate with something I said today, just you can contact us, and you can talk with my assistant, and if needs be, we can talk with each other and help you and guide you to what's the best place for you to go.
And all of these links that have been mentioned in the show today will be down in the show notes. So make sure you head down on there and click all of them to get into Dr. Lisa's circle. Do you have any last words that you would like to lay on the hearts of the listeners today?
Yes, your essence is love. It's who you are. So the good news is you all have access to experiencing love and gratitude. You all have access to creating heaven on earth. And it is our responsibility to create this heaven on earth. Nobody's going to come and create it for you. If you wait for that, you're going to be miserable. So commit to yourself right now. Commit to bringing the best out of yourself so you can live a juicy life full of passion. You know, why do people jump out of an airplane? It's because it's out of their comfort zone. That's when you feel alive, like, wow, I did something scary. So sometimes getting out of a comfort zone is getting out of our routine, our habits, and listening to your heart that's calling you to do something that you've been, no, I don't want to listen. Listen to it and jump into your life and have an amazing experience on planet Earth, an amazing trip on planet Earth.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lise, for being here and for sharing your wisdom. I'm inspired by the work that you're doing, and I can't wait to continue to see how you grow and evolve and bring more of that to this world.
Thank you. Like, and when my book comes out with Jack, maybe I can come back and speak with you so we can
I would
share.
love that.
Okay, cool.